That'd be a good response. I was very early in my forecasting career, and my boss came in and gave me a project. Project was to forecast sales for the rest of the year. And part of that sales forecast in the spreadsheet that we used, it would also forecast profit. And it was June, so basically the challenge was to forecast June sales and the 6 months following. So it's basically a 7-month sales forecast. So I do the forecast using, as has already been mentioned today, something archaic called Lotus 123. Okay, and so I finish the forecast, and then find out how long ago this was. I actually had to print it out for you younger people on something called a printer. On paper, this was a big spreadsheet. It was on something called legal paper. Now that was just the size of the paper. It didn't have anything to do with illegal versus legal. It's just a big spreadsheet. So I finish this spreadsheet, and I walk into my boss's office with my forecast. So here it is. Now we have to talk about this, of course, but here's the first cut. Takes it, puts it in the top of his tray. It's fine. Says we'll talk about it later. Now, a couple days later, I'm in his office, and I notice that the piece of paper has not moved. That's okay, and I think I may have reminded him. You know, we still have to talk about that. Sure we do. We have to talk about that. Well, what I think happened after that, because I wasn't there, was that the president of the company comes into his office and says, "Hey, I need that forecast." And of course, being a boss, he goes, "Okay," grabs it and gives it to him. Goes back down, studies it. Soon, he comes back to my boss's office, and he's very upset. He tells my boss, "This is a horrible forecast. This is just awful work. Did you look at this?" "No, I didn't look at that." Well then, who did this? And like most bosses, that would be Don. Well, he tells him that, you know, this is horrible. This is awful work. You tell Don, unless he improves, he's gone. Okay? True story. I'm not making this up. So my boss is in an unusual position because he hasn't looked at it, we haven't talked about it, but he has to tell me that it's horrible and the boss is ready to let me go unless I improve. And what was interesting, it was so critical, he actually did that Jerry Maguire thing to me, if you remember the movie. He took me out to a public place to deliver this news. And because it was, he had to like go around the subject, he basically tells me this at the end, and I'm totally confused. Now what the great thing about this is that he never told me, or anyone else told me, what was wrong with that forecast. I have no idea what was wrong with the forecast. But that just goes to show you how tough a job forecasting is. Oh, almost forgot. As Paul Harvey would say, and now, the rest of the story. Do you think I cared about that forecast at that point? Yeah, this is a very important forecast. Almost got me fired, and I don't know what's wrong with it. Okay. I take the thing, I stick it in the top of my desk drawer, because I wasn't going to put it out on my desk, because that would remind people, if anyone walked by, "Oh, that's a horrible forecast, and that's the guy that did it." So I stick it in the drawer. So every so often, I take it out and look to see how we're doing. And I'm breathing a little bit easier, because we're doing better. So finally, the day comes in January, when the accounting department puts out the final numbers for the year. It hits my desk, I kind of look at it, then I remember, oh, better check this, because I did it for two reasons. If it was really bad, I was probably going to look for a new job, or if they brought it up that it was bad, I wanted to know where it was. So I checked the numbers. That forecast was 1% off. 1%. 7 months worth of sales, 1% off. The profits, which are harder because you have to do the products and all that, and they vary. It's the mix thing. The profits, 1.5% off. The best forecast that I've ever done in my career almost got me fired. Let that sink in. Think about that. It's